Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sing When You're Losing podcast, your podcast about resilience, the ability to perform under pressure, the ability to bounce back, the ability to adapt. This morning, we have the great privilege of having on the podcast Charlotte Forde. So Charlotte is a little bit different to some of our other guests. She is not an active elite athlete, but she does train athletes and has taken a particular interest in golf fitness. So I thought it would be really interesting if any of you are like me, then anything to help the average golfer get a handicap below 18 would be amazing. So we're going to talk to Charlotte this morning, find out a bit about what she does, where she's based. The accent will give some of that away once she starts speaking. So we're going to find out about Charlotte and a little bit about what she does, the kind of work that she does, and how we can improve our basic fitness. And this is for everyone, not just for the golfer. But let's get to know Charlotte a little bit. So this is actually the first time that Charlotte and I have met face to face as well.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so good morning, Charlotte.
As privileged as you.
Well, I don't know. I think you'll realize that you're not, but it's really good to meet you this morning.
Oh, no, I knew too.
And you haven't followed us for the last half an hour. We were meant to be interviewing somewhere else, and it had a tin roof. And of course, the heavens have opened, as it is the northwest of England, and it sounded like golf balls dropping on the roof above us. So we've had to find an alternate venue, but we have, and we're here. So Charlotte, tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from? Your background?
Okay, so I'm originally from Warrington.
Which is where?
This is in the northwest of England, so just in between Manchester and Liverpool. So yes, a bit of rivalry in the household already due to football clubs, but you know, that's another story. I moved to the Wirral in 2012 with my partner. We've got 2 children, 2 daughters. And yeah, it was probably the best thing that we ever did in terms of school-wise, obviously friends and opportunities for business as well.
Great. So you live on the Wirral?
Yeah.
And you've started your business, which is called?
Elevate Fitness and Training. Elevate
Fitness and Training. Now, Elevate is not spelled the normal way that people spell Elevate, and that's because you don't know how to spell Elevate. There's a reason that it's spelled like that.
There is. So obviously I've just mentioned my 2 daughters, and their names are Ella and Ava. So that's how the brand was created. Originally created as just a name, to be honest with you. It was just a name that I used to use on my freelance invoices. It was never meant to, you know, head in this direction and evolve the way that it has done. So obviously,
great.
That makes me very proud.
So if people are Googling Elevate Fitness to try to find more out about you, yes. Charlotte, it's Ella, as in E-L-L-A.
Yes, it is.
Ava, A-V-A.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
So if you are watching the video version, the banner behind Charlotte says Elevate Fitness. So how did you get into fitness then? What led you in this direction?
It all started off as, I could say probably as young as 3, 4. My ambition in life, well, I did really want to be a gladiator as well, actually. But amazing. I used to watch my mum and sister do the Rosemary Conley workout video in our loft. And I just loved this woman. I loved the lycra, I loved the whoop whoops. I just loved the energy. I loved everything. I loved everything about watching this woman and what she did. So I always wanted to be an aerobics instructor. I was from a very sporty family, so my dad played a lot of sport, mainly racket sports, but it was just always, my brother played rugby. You know, we were a very sporty family. In school, it was something that, you know, drove me forward. I wasn't really interested in anything else but sport. Pursued it and continued in college. I played netball for Cheshire, and then I fell pregnant. I fell pregnant at the age of 18. It kind of was like, right, okay, let's turn this into a career now. So
And just for anyone, maybe the Americans listening, netball. So netball is really, it's a sport that's played where the ball is screaming, I would rather be a basketball.
Yeah, but
right?
You're not allowed to bounce it. You're not allowed to hurt that ball. You're not allowed to bounce it.
No.
Or move with the ball either.
Yeah, so you played netball, that was your main sport?
Yes, that was my main sport, yeah.
Okay.
I was athletics, but I was a sprinter, so it was kind of, they're gone, let's get into the teamwork. Netball was my main sport. After college, I started working at what was JJB Sports, so that's how old I feel now saying that. Now DW.
So when you say after college, here in the UK, that means you were 18 years old.
18, yes,
yeah,
it was,
so
yes.
that's sixth form college, which is kind of like high school in the States.
Yes, yeah. And I started off as a receptionist and I was just teaching classes. I did my level 2 aerobics, went onto the gym floor and then just progressed from there really through different commercial gyms and leisure centres.
Okay, so you worked in the gyms. You mentioned David Lloyd earlier was one of the places you worked. So what were you doing in those gyms then?
So I progressed onto management in a really small gym. Well, it's a leisure centre. It was a council leisure centre called Kingsway. Coincidentally, that's where I met my partner too. But yeah, I started off basically running classes on the gym floor and then progressed into gym management, and from there moved on to David Lloyd and continued the management. It was really, really good. I absolutely loved working there. I was actually seconded to a second site in my first year within management there. So I was managing about 80 people, I think, at one stage.
And how old?
I was 23, about 23, 24.
Okay.
So big task, and I think it really pushed me to mature, obviously having a child young and then, you know, having commitments like a mortgage at the age of 18, you know, it just really got me stuck into work. And as I said, I love David Lloyd, but I quickly learned that there wasn't much progression for me there in terms of what I wanted to achieve. So every time I kind of stepped up a notch, it got me further away from fitness. So in order to become a general manager, you've got to be sales or operations or food and beverage. And I was like, no, I just want to be fitness. I just want to be on the gym floor and, you know, teaching classes. And my old general manager, he actually left and started up his own business. And it was him that kind of guided me almost, which he probably doesn't even realise that he did. But he had, how can I put it? He had the motivation to kind of pursue this career outside his norm. Despite that was what he loved, but he explained to me how far away that was from what I actually wanted. So general management, you sat behind a desk, you're working with numbers, and even though I really like that, I need the two sides. So I need the interaction from the people. And he helped you realise that. He really, really helped me realise that wasn't the pathway that I wanted to take.
Yeah.
Hence, Elevate being born.
Okay, so you were in management, but you really wanted to be doing more fitness. So how did you make that transition into running your own business then?
Well, it actually came from an opportunity of opening a new gym in Heswell in 2017. So I met, coincidentally, met two guys in a bar. It sounds really dodgy, doesn't it? But basically they were looking for somebody to open up a gym with. I just looked at the opportunity and thought, okay, this is great because it's exactly what I want to do, but I don't actually necessarily have to invest any of my own money into it. So I can take this opportunity and basically see what it is to run my own business and operate the business throughout, you know, from start to finish, design, you know, the gym, you know, pick out the equipment, do all the pre-sales. And that was a really nice conversion for me because I was still management, I still recruited my team, but I was still teaching classes, I was still PTing, I was still very much on the gym floor. So that was the real nice kind of transition from commercial into independence for me. Elevate at that time was still hiding behind somebody else's brand. So it was only in September of last year when Elevate for me really kind of came into its own. And that was when I was invited to St. Lucia to tutor a group of fitness professionals in the Body Holiday Wellness Resort, which is absolutely
just
incredible.
Sounds awful.
I know.
Sounds terrible.
Please, you need to visit this place. It's like heaven on earth. But yeah, that was the first time I've ever really done anything from my own brand. And it was 100% the highlight of my career. 100%. It was so amazing and so incredible. And, you know, I was so fortunate to be offered that position to go over and take my family as well.
Wow.
And this lovely resort. So that was how kind of Elevate was born. And I kind of moved away from the gym and thought, no, it's strong enough to stand on its own.
Very good. So that was less than a year ago.
Less than a year ago, yeah.
Excellent. Now, what got you, so you've always been into fitness. How did you come to focus on golf fitness? Because that seems to be a major stream for you now.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, first of all, I got into golf while I was in college. So I used to play it, not frequently, but I just enjoyed it. It was kind of a little release from me because, as I said, I was very athletic, but in terms of everything is high impact. So even just recently when I was teaching classes, it was all high energy, you know, your spinning, your body attack, and Thai boxing as well. I was a Thai boxer, so that didn't help when it came to the amount of injuries that I obviously got from. So I had knee surgery, double foot surgery, broke both my toes, and I came to the realisation, it kind of, you know, it went full circle, and I really wanted something where I could just have that kind of release, that me time, you know, away from the kids, but I still liked playing a sport. I did try and go back to netball, didn't work. So in terms of the golf, I started playing again when I was in David Lloyd. I found a nice little course. I bought a new set of clubs, and you know where it's like as soon as you buy new clubs, that's it, you're out there. Had a few lessons, and it reminded me of what it felt like when I was back in college and using that as a release, and it was just really exciting for me. The problem was I didn't have anyone to play with at that time. So I didn't get out as much as I would like to. When we moved over to the Wirral, I did meet one of my friends who, it was crazy, it was about 6 months down the line of a friendship, and we realised that we had golf as one of our common interests. Right. And she'd go out but play with her son, so didn't really enjoy that side of it. And I'd be out playing with Mike maybe, and I really didn't enjoy playing with Mike because we're too competitive. So we started playing again together, and again, it's just, for me, I just absolutely loved the sport. And when you love something enough and you're fortunate enough to have your own business, why not combine the two? And, you know, when we were playing in competitions, she'd be like, how many lessons have you had? I'd be like, 3. And she'd go, so how can you hit the ball that far? And through studying it, I really realised how much my fitness and my background, my strength training, how everything kind of combined into one, and thought, wow, I actually think that golf isn't just a game based on skill. It's actually, you know, your physicality for golf. Because she'd been playing a lot longer for me. She'd had a lot more lessons. I could drive the ball, I still can probably drive the ball 2 to 3 times further than she could, and you know, I'm talking about somebody who doesn't exercise often. She won't mind me saying this, but yeah, she doesn't exercise often, and this is where I thought, wow, people don't really realise how physical golf is, and they'd be shocked when I said that I played golf, because they'd be like, you play golf? You know, we think that it's, you know, a middle-aged man's hobby, you know, and that's very much how it's been perceived for a long time. And you see the Americans, and they do it so well because, you know, they're so much further advanced than we are in terms of the golf fitness. So it really drives me, in fact, to find this niche in the market and think, hold on, why is nobody doing this? And especially in our area, I know that I'm the only person who's got my TPI fitness qualification, and it just baffles me, because when you see how many golf clubs there is, how many golf coaches there are, it's just an area that, you know, needs to be highlighted, really. And as I said, the Americans do it great. I think in the recent weeks with Bryson DeChambeau and his change, I think, you know, when you look at the likes of Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, their promotions through, you know, Nike Fitness, and, you know, it really has changed the game, and I want to be part of that change as well.
Yeah, I was just.
I hope that answers your question in a very long answer.
Yeah, as you were talking about that, I was thinking. I mean, I completely agree. I think Tiger Woods changed the game of golf.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that it was just this natural ability that he had, but actually that wasn't true. He was the hardest worker in the game.
Yes, yeah.
And he took fitness to a whole new level.
Yeah.
In the game of golf. And you then brought up Rory McIlroy, who has kind of followed that example, hasn't he? And
yeah.
Almost to his detriment, really, like Tiger, who's now suffering with back
injuries,
problems
yeah.
and knee injuries and everything from overtraining.
Yes, yeah.
Roy started having some of the back problems as well, hasn't
Yeah.
he? And so it's about getting that balance, isn't it?
It is,
So
definitely.
who other than maybe Tiger, who has changed the game of golf forever, who are the ones on the PGA Tour or even the LPGA, if you can think of any of the ladies who you use as your examples?
See, for me, I look at, it's more of a natural build, but Dustin Johnson. So his athleticism, he's, to me, in my opinion, he's got a real correct balance. But it's so difficult because everybody is an individual. So not everybody's somatotype will hold certain shapes. So, you know, as I mentioned, obviously DeChambeau before, people may look at him and go, yeah, I'm going to go and get in the gym and real bulk up. But he's not. He's done it really well in the fact that he's not lost any of his flexibility or mobility, range of motion or anything like that around the joint. He's really studied it and to see what suits him, and that's what I do as a personal trainer. You know, I had somebody message me the other day, what can I do to lose weight? And I was like, wow, it's not, you know, I'm not just going to text you and go, this is it. Yeah. I was like, I just need to know exactly. You know, you need to know your whole lifestyle, your measurements, you know, your physical activity, your exercise history. You know, something that works for one person might not necessarily work for another. So as I said, with DJ Alcor, because I know you Americans like that term.
Well, he's also from South Carolina. I'll just let
really?
you know that.
Yeah. My partner would kill me for saying, but when we went to the Open in 2014, I think it was, at the Royal Liverpool, and he nearly hit me with a golf ball. That's my claim to fame through DJ. I nearly hit me with that golf ball. So I won't tell you what I was walking past holding. It may have been a pizza, perhaps. But yeah, in terms of, you know, he's got it spot on because he has got that natural physique. So he's not, yes, he is suffering from a few injuries at the minute, but it's not necessarily through overtraining. It's probably through, you know, repetitive training. You know.
Well, he's an athlete though. He played different sports. He was a very, very good basketball player. So the balance that comes from that, and he is incredibly flexible. And so I think DJ is a great example. And he and Brooks Koepka, I think, are gym buddies as well, from what I understand. So
it's always helpful though to have a gym buddy.
yeah, it absolutely is. So what's the average golfer that you work with then? What level of golfer?
So it varies. So I've got my youngest golfer is 18 years old. My eldest golfer is 67 years old. I've worked with professional golfers, amateur golfers, and then, someone who just likes to go and have a knock about and knock balls, on municipal courses. So there is that variety, and that was, again, another reason why I really wanted to get into the golf fitness as well, because it's nice to have something so specific. So as I mentioned before, people saying, oh, I just want to lose weight or change shape. I've done that for 15 years, and it doesn't challenge me. And within the golf fitness, I've really got to study each of my clients, and as I said, look into the lifestyle, and I still do this with your standard clients, but with the golf, they've each got a certain goal. So it's normally distance or reduce handicap, but there's different ways in which they can achieve that. And they've not all got, as I said, from, you can imagine the difference in between an 18-year-old and 67-year-old. Their range and their ability is so far apart. So it's really finding that balance and being able to adapt to that particular client. The same as obviously when you're training a pro golfer who is so hot and skill-wise, who are so to the T, and got all of, so to the T, no pun intended, but I've got all of the different equipment to be able to measure their progressions as well. So like your TrackMan and Swing, they can actually physically see their differences and monitor it on, a weekly as the training. So it's a really nice kind of variety of.
So what does the average golfer come to you and say then? What's the first thing they say? Is it, I need more distance? Or is it, I just want to get stronger? What's the average golfer come to you? What do they say?
Normally, it's because they've noticed something within their swing, and they know that they can't, that they're not reaching the full potential basically in the swing for whatever reason that may be. That's why I would say the TPI assessment has really opened my eyes and helped me identify their areas.
So just tell us what
improve.
TPI stands for.
So TPI is the Titleist Performance Institute. Prior to taking the qualification, I'd done a golf fitness specialisation through the NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine. But it quickly became clear that golfers don't have a clue what NASM is, the same as fitness professionals don't have a clue what TPI is. So it was actually a golf coach that recommended TPI to me and said, listen, if you want to progress and really kind of attract golfers in, Titleist Performance Institute is there for medical professionals, fitness professionals, golf professionals, working collectively as a team to improve people's golf. That's ultimately the goal, regardless of what your background is, whether medical fitness or through golf, we're there to improve people's golf and work collectively to do so. And as I said, that really opened my eyes in terms of the way that I'd been assessing people prior, because I'd been coming from a very fitness background, obviously. And through TPI, it's predominantly golf. So I learned things about swing characteristics and be able to identify that in somebody's hip mobility. So the average golf will normally come due to restrictions of the body, not necessarily distance, but I will always ask them to give me a goal specific to the golf, so something that they can measure it against. So that may be the handicap or the distance, and that's where I work alongside the golf coaches.
So what are the main, if you can say, areas of weakness for the average golfer?
Hips, I would normally say it's normally the mobility. Normally around the hips, it all depends on, again, their lifestyle, so what job they've been in, especially a lot of office workers, it is mainly mobility. And people don't realise, and again, it's something that's highlighted through these assessments, the lack of range of motion, because you don't think that they do these certain movements. So just say, for instance, a pelvic tilt. They may not realise that they do that during a golf swing and how that would affect the golf swing. But then when they do it, they're like, oh, I really can't, I can't straighten my back, or, and you're like, right, okay, so this is where we're working on. So it's normally, obviously, the core area. But I do see a lot that struggle with power, because they're used to doing, so just say, for instance, a rotational exercise, because it's very similar to a golf swing. And it's about educating people that you don't necessarily build power from doing the same motion that you're going to be doing out on the golf course. You've got to generate the power through the whole of your body. And as we say, from the ground up. So it's, a lot of people come to me and they don't actually realise what they want until I've identified it and highlighted it, pointed out and say, right, this is what we're actually going to work on.
So if you can, for the average golfer, if they could work on one thing that would make the biggest impact on their swing, just obviously people are different, but what would be for the average golfer one thing?
In terms of the swing or gaining distance? There we go. There's a question for you, buddy.
So gaining distance, because I am the average golfer.
Yeah.
And many of the average golfers that I play with, they just want to hit the ball farther.
Yeah, okay. So for me, that would be your power generation. So that would be a mixture of strength and speed training, but also factoring in your flexibility. So, it's a whole body sequence, but I would definitely work on the power through your lower body. That would be my one go-to.
Yeah.
and I've got it as kind of personal proof that, as I said, my distance is so much further than some of my friends that I play with, who are far more skillful than me, have been playing for a longer time than me. I may not be always as accurate as they are, but I get a lot further down the course than they do. So it's that's my kind of go-to.
Good. And what's more important, and I know these questions, this is a horrible type of question for any kind of training, because it's all important and you're looking at the whole person and the whole game, but strength or flexibility?
So, there's going to be controversy. So, I would say, so ultimately, you need flexibility to be able to do certain movements, to be able to obviously rotate, to get a range of motion. Through strengthening your muscles, you're going to shorten them, which won't help in the game. And that's why you need to do it as part of a balance. So I would say flexibility. But, there's always a but people shouldn't go out there and think, right, I'm going to train in yoga and I'm going to be the best golfer ever, because there's a certain way of doing it, and that's why I've extensively studied golf-specific fitness for that reason, because so many people out there will do it the wrong way. And as I said, the likes of yoga is very good, but you need to be very careful, because just lengthening your muscles, it's not the be all and end all. It's about, as I said, mobility around the joint and getting that balance, and also strengthening to gain your power. But yeah, I guess you're never going to be any good at much if you've not got general flexibility. So that would be, that's going to be my definitive there.
There's a female that I play golf with, and she's probably half my width.
Yeah.
And at least 6 inches shorter than me.
Yeah.
And hits the ball as far, if not farther, than I do off the tee. It drives me crazy. It absolutely kills me.
How flexible are you, buddy?
And, I've never been the most flexible person on the planet. But I'm obviously timing comes a lot in that, and the flexibility is huge. So Strength or flexibility? Both. In the last couple of months, obviously, we're just coming out of lockdown now. Golf courses opened back up a few weeks ago.
Yes, yeah.
Have you seen again, pun intended, an upswing in golf interest over the last few months?
Yes, definitely. When trying to book a tee time, yes, I definitely have. No, it is brilliant to see, and I think through being in lockdown and people, at the very start we were allowed out to exercise for an hour a day, and just seeing people get outdoors, regardless of what type of physical activity, even if it was just walking, it was just lovely to see. And then, as I think everybody was chomping at the bit for golf courses to open, because it's quite easy to social distance really on a course, but trying to work out how it was gonna work, and there has definitely been an increase. Whether that will stay, you will never know. I know obviously I'm based at the driving range, and certainly that was, absolutely heaving with people trying to get bays. I know, my partner went out and bought new golf clubs because the gyms weren't open, and that was him, saying I need this time that I would normally have in the gym to go and practice my golf. So definitely there's been an increase, as I said. Whether it will continue, I would hope that it did, because that, participation in golf, I think, again, it's very, not a controversial subject, but it has put people off in the past, I think, because of the etiquette behind it, the cost of it
quite
sometimes.
Elitist.
Yeah. And I know, coming from a female point of view, quite intimidating sometimes standing on that tee when you've got people waiting behind you. So it's really nice to see, as I said, people getting out there and actually practicing golf, and yeah. I enjoy it. Definitely been an increase though when I'm struggling to get my tee time.
It will be interesting to see if that continues.
Yeah.
Because golf had taken a bit of a hit.
Oh, yes, 100%.
For the last few years, really, golf.
It's nice to see though as well, golf clubs adapting and trying to get people back into it by offering temporary membership, so you've not got that annual commitment, or making it a little bit more affordable for people to play golf. And the municipals have been great coming back as well. So yeah.
So I know you're interested obviously in fitness, golf fitness in particular, but you're also interested in the mental health side of things. How can golf help people with their mental health?
So I feel with, it's similar to any physical activity. You can release your endorphins, your happy hormone, but it's more than that. It improves sleep, reduces depression and anxiety, stress. There's just so much, even just being outdoors, can really, I've realised definitely training outdoors has gave me a new kind of lease of life in that way. But I think with golf in particular, it is it's for me especially, it's the sport that is so mentally challenging just as much, if not even more, than it is physically challenging. So for somebody, suffering from mental illness, or somebody who just needs that balance in their life, I do firmly believe that, golf is such a good sport for that, because I know, when I'm out there on the course, you're thinking about so many different things, are my feet in the right position? What club do I need to use to get to, that distance? Is anybody waiting behind me? That sort of. So you're thinking about so many different factors that it does just take it into your own space. Regardless of whether you're playing with different people, if you could be playing with 3 other people, but you're still in that space on your own, and taking that time out. I know that can be off-putting for people sometimes, that they're going to be away for 4 hours maybe, but it's so important to find that balance in life. And as I said, from a mental health perspective, when you think about all of the different factors and the elements that any type of physical activity do, produce, and how effective it is, definitely recommend golf as one of them activities at the top there for you.
Yeah, I mean, simply a 30-minute walk outside every day.
Yeah.
Can, as you say, it can improve sleep. It can change your whole perspective on life.
Yes,
so
definitely.
If you can get out for 3 or 4 hours,
exactly,
it just compounds that, doesn't it?
Many of my friends would say, Charlotte, I would never walk. If you said to me, walk from here to there, which is, we're talking 400 yards, I would say no, it's not me, because they're just not physically active in that way. Whereas obviously, if you've got a purpose to walk there, even better if you're walking there with a putter in your hand, then obviously, you've got that purpose and you're doing it for a reason. And it's just a different way of enjoying physical activity. I've been out before and just put my headphones on and just gone to hit, just do a quick 9-hole. And what it's done for me is amazing, because it's just, especially this was, when the golf course is just first opened, and I'm at home, homeschooling, trying to run a business, endlessly cooking and cleaning because we're all in the house. So for me, sticking on my headphones and hitting the ball was just that, moment, not getting in a bath or anything like that. It was literally just, yes, this is my zen, this is my
Your
happy
self-care.
place. yeah, definitely.
Self-care is so important
So
when you're
important.
dealing with mental health and anxiety issues, and and that self-care will look different for different people, won't it?
It will do.
But golf is a great example. And if you aren't just out by yourself, you're out with 1, 2, or 3 other people.
Yeah.
Just the social side.
Social aspect of it, and again, it comes with any type of physical activity. Again, for myself, I've always been group exercise. So we mentioned it before about gym buddies. If I've not got a gym buddy, I'm going to do group exercise in a studio, and it won't get me the results that I necessarily want as quick as I would want. However, it's good for my mental well-being, for my general well-being. So I always choose that.
Yeah, I've had some amazing conversations on the golf course.
Yes.
And if you've got 3 or 4 hours to have those conversations.
Yeah. And it's good when you are so busy in everyday life. I do use it to catch up with some of my friends who I might not have seen. And, I think that's where the etiquette comes in sometimes, where we're like, gab. And, when we hit the ball on 2 different sides of the fairway, it's not always great. But no, it is that social. And it's, I think as well, being in that open space is not as intimidating as being, maybe in a room with somebody, or being in a gym. You don't feel as if you're being looked over or judged, or, it's just that nice space to get out and enjoy some fresh air as well while we can, when we've got the weather, of course.
Of course.
I'm a very seasonal
I will play in all seasons, and I think we're going to have a couple of those seasons today.
Yes.
So hopefully the weather picks up before I go out this
Yes.
afternoon. Are you doing any work with junior golfers?
So this is something that we're looking into at the minute. Obviously we're waiting for the studio to be built at the minute. I've got my fingers in a hell of a lot of pies with Elevate. It is evolving faster than I would probably care to admit, really. But so I started, again, going way back when I was in Kingsway. I used to train adolescents as part of, because it was a council leisure centre. We got a lot of referrals. We worked with a lot of schools, and working with. I got my coaching adolescents badge, and from that I used to run a program, and it was based on basically physical activity, nutrition, and like the psychology of it was mainly obesity in children. But this is something that is kind of, I've never really thought about it until we met a mutual friend of ours. And I had a lovely discussion yesterday with another friend that I started off with on the Wirral, running children's activity, and it is definitely something that I do want to focus on, because I'm quickly realising there is just nothing for golf. There's no, okay, I'll say that, there's no physical activity for children in golf. So, you know, when you see it in tennis, you see it in football, especially in this area. And apart from the coaching element, there's nothing really fun and physical that may appeal to children unless it's being brought into them throughout the family, if that makes sense to you. So golf is normally something, come out with come out with dad to hit a few balls to play. In my opinion, you don't really see children say or watch it on the telly and go, I want to be a golfer. I think that's something that's got to be in the family. And I do want to kind of bring it back and look at the experience that I've had in the past and kind of collectively bring it together. And, you know, again, I'll probably end up creating another brand. That's all I seem to be doing at the minute. But yeah, I would love to design a programme that kind of filters into both areas. So and it's not just about the coaching of the golf, but it's looking at the physicality and hopefully, producing some amazing golfers through it. And again, it's doing it the right way. You can't just say to a kid, right, we're going to start strength training when you're 8 years old. There's procedures around it and there's ways to do it. And again, that's not going to be their interest. It's going to be about the motor skills and looking at the coordination and different things that maybe coaches don't focus on as much because they're looking at the skill level. Whereas I'm looking at the base, I'm looking at, what have we got to build on from here and what they enjoy as well. So it is definitely an area that I would love to explore and will probably be exploring in the next year.
Great.
But yes.
Yeah, I think it'd be great, get the kids in for their golf training and they're doing sit-ups and push-ups and
but,
not just swinging a club.
You know what, when it's presented to them as something like a boot camp,
a golf boot camp.
Exactly, what's not fun about that? And I know I think somebody has actually came up with this idea. Don't know how successful it is, but we used to run something in David Lloyd called cardio tennis, and it was for those people who weren't great at tennis. So you're learning a few skills, but you're looking at your fitness, and something with them same elements for golf would be great, because not just standing there and correcting your stance and choosing your clubs, like you can make it so much more fun than what the actual game is, because let's face it, it's very inconsistent game for some of us. Making it fun for kids and just getting them into golf. This is a little bit off topic, but it's the same about women trying to build female participation. Because again, sometimes you'll get introduced to it through your partner, your husband, your son, a friend. And I know so many women who haven't even stepped foot on a golf course, but they've had 20 lessons and, they'll go to the driving range. But it's that kind of, intimidation kind of actually getting onto,
Golf is meant to relieve anxiety, not
exactly, not build it up. And I will tell you, I've boxed before. And I've never felt anxiety the way that I've felt standing on a tee box sometimes on my own. It's only within the last 2 years I've actually felt confident enough to go out and play on my own. So that is a big, I'm going to stick this in here. We did, my friend and I, we created a business called Hit and Hope, which is golf events for females only, where we play on like a reduced par 3, just 9 holes. And it is just to try and get females to actually play. It's not scored in a way where it's, how many times does it take you to hit the ball into the hole. It's not, it's not that. It's based on different challenges. So, can you hit the ball onto the green, tick box? Can you get the ball out of a bunker? Can you two-putt? Or, can you, just simple things, so simple challenges that, yes, you would face on the golf course, but it's not in that intimidating environment.
You still run that now?
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, most of our events were cancelled this year, so we were supposed to have one on the 21st of June, but that was cancelled, and I think moving forward, we're probably looking at next year, because we do, you're looking at 20 to 30 women going out to play, and again, it's as much as of the social aspect. It's trying to build a network of similar ability females who can go out and play with each other. So yes, probably next year will be our next events.
Okay. Building on that, what are your kind of longer term plans with Elevate then?
Oh, this is exciting. So so this morning, you probably won't even know it, but this morning I launched a new website. Something really hit home with me that I saw last week on a marketing post, and it was about humanising your business and really personalise it, and people buy into people. So personalise your brand. And I think it's, and I don't mean to play this female card again, but golf is male predominant, I would say, and I've always hidden behind the brand and used we, or as a term rather than I. I've never introduced myself as Charlotte, so nobody has really known who's behind the brand, whether it's male, female. Even email responses have always been, the Elevate Fitness team. So this is something that, as I said, really hit home, and especially, you can't get more humanised or personalised than your daughter's names being the brand. So I've changed my website, which is launched today. I am in the process of building a team, so I've got more people who'll be joining Elevate Fitness and Training, all specialised in their own individual areas, and it's to help obviously the general, our general clients, but golf clients as well, where we're getting a nutritionist on site. She is incredibly experienced, knowledgeable, far more than what I am in that field. I'm hoping to get a sports therapist as well on board, or a physiotherapist would be great, just so that we can again work collectively and give the best advice out there. I don't do things by heart, and it's about building that brand, but really delivering what we do. I've also created a fitness concept, so a new golf fitness concept, which I'm hoping to launch in around September, but we're just going through trademarking and all that stuff at the minute, logo design. I did want to keep it separate to Elevate, but again, we've decided to keep it as part of the brand because it's ever evolving, so why move away from it? We're just building up on that, and that is the thing that I'm most excited about, this new fitness concept, because as I mentioned before, I think most people who practice golf fitness, they come from a strength and conditioning background, which, yes, I've got experience from being, personal training for 15 years. It was heavily based on strength and conditioning. But because I'm very group exercise orientated, this fitness concept has never been seen before, so I cannot wait to share it with you eventually. But it's something that I've never thought myself of being very creative, and it was something that was discussed around a dinner table, myself, my partner, my children, and it was that light bulb moment, and I just thought, this is really good because it's going to be so accessible, so affordable as well, and hopefully will go worldwide, because it is ultimately a web page. It's going to be an app. It's so that's where I'm heading for. I would like to take my TPI level 3, and that means going over to California. So I'm hoping to do that within the next 3 years, as well. But yeah, definitely continuing with my golf I don't even know what my golf pupil. No, definitely pursuing and going down my, staying with my golfers, and really focusing on their needs, and hopefully getting UK back up to the standard of American golf and fitness.
I'm sure you will. What is your biggest passion in all this? So you can answer this two ways.
Yeah.
So which aspect of this is your biggest passion?
Yes.
But also, why do you do it?
Oh.
So what is your passion and what's your biggest passion with the work?
So for me, anybody who knows me knows I just love seeing people achieve their goals, and not only in terms of fitness or just supporting people building their empire. And I think because I've had so many opportunities and being successful, it's only through other people's, that it could just be their words of encouragement that have pushed me forward, or it could be their recommendations, or their referrals. So it's just about giving back, and I know that sounds really cheesy, but I just love being around people. I'm very much a people person, and when it's not work to make it, I think it's ridiculous that people actually pay me to do this, because I have so much fun with it. And as I said, I love getting to know people, their background, and making them feel really comfortable in their environment, when especially through fitness, where they may not have had the best experience before, or they've been used to, I don't know, it's like adapting to people, so knowing when to push them and when not to. There's been people who have come to train with me on a certain day, and I've recognised that they're not in the right headspace, and said, let's go for a coffee instead, because you need somebody to talk to. You don't need somebody to push you and train you today. So it's being able to recognise that. In terms of what really motivates me is the educational side of it. And as I said, it's becoming a lot easier for me to educate people on golf fitness now, because it is a talking point within the industry. When you see, these different golfers come out, I know the Tiger Woods documentary was on not that long ago on Sky Sports Golf. DeChambeau, all the talk about DeChambeau, then you've had people go out with injuries. It is a real highlight now, and as I said, it is predominantly in America, but hopefully it's filtering through, and people are understanding that even if you just go out to play casual golf, you're still working as an athlete. You're still working your muscles just as hard as anybody else is trying to swing that golf club. And if you're not working functionally, then you're never going to benefit from it in later life. It's a shame. I'll use Mike as an example. My partner, he suffered from an injury when he was younger, and that has massively affected him going into later life, just in terms of going out for a walk or cycling or sitting in certain chairs, and that it's really sad to see that somebody who's not even 40 yet can struggle to get out of bed sometimes, because they've not had that training, that rehabilitation that was necessary. And that's why I do really focus on functional training. You'll see I always use TRX and resistance bands, so that it benefits your whole life. So it's not just for golf. You will see a difference in your whole lifestyle, in the posture, in the way that you walk, the way that you sit, your energy levels. There's so many different elements of it. So that's why it's very important to me to, be that little that little person to deliver that.
Fantastic. So really your passion is about helping people.
And
the way that you do that is through fitness, and golf fitness in particular.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's great to see your passion and how much you love it.
it.
How much you love what you do,
Yeah,
as well
yeah,
as how much you love people.
It's so important though. It is, I've been in jobs which I've loved, but not realised how much I actually hated them until I've walked away from them. Because when I'm doing something, you've got the whole of me. So, I'm very much jump in, feet first, and I'm committed to, do that task. And as I said, it's only when you kind of walk away from that and you think, wow, we've been doing that for somebody else and not being recognised. And, you know, it's not always been about recognised, but when you can't even recognise it yourself, how hard you're working, to the detriment of, you know, maybe family life or, you know, self-care, then that's where, you know, that's where that's where it ends, isn't it? So
yeah. And the podcast is called Sing When You're Losing. So working through the difficult times, and some golf can bring you out of those difficult times sometimes.
Yeah.
But also it is good to win. And so the fitter you are,
yes.
if you're as competitive as I am, you want to win.
Every sports person on the planet is so competitive. Like, I can't even play a game of, you know, charades or whatever. I'm banned from all board games with the family.
Yeah, my wife would say she's not really competitive, but you put a board game on the table.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the worst in the family. Where can people find you? Where can they locate you online?
So my website is www.elevatefitness.com. Remember, that's spelled as in Ella and Ava. I'm on Facebook, well, on all means of social media. If you type in for Elevate Fitness and Training, but it's also found under Golf Fitness Wirral. And I do try and keep a post up every day. But as I said, it's more for educational purposes rather than, you know, well, obviously it's there to help you, but it is there for educational purposes so that you can not necessarily build your own program for it, but you can actually see, you know, what the benefits are. I always try and explain just a little bit about how it will help you and improve your golf game. So, you know, I'm not an Insta girl. I'm not, you know, that's unfortunately the way that's part of our industry goes at the minute, where, you know, it's all about aesthetics and, you know, how you look, and for me it's about much more than that. So they're not all flattering photos, but at least it gets to the bottom of why it's beneficial for you.
Absolutely. It's been a huge privilege chatting with you this morning. I love what you're doing. I think the golf fitness stuff is fantastic. It's lovely to see a female entrepreneur going for it as well, and trying to make the most of everything that you do, everything that you love, your passion, and building this business that is going to change people's lives.
Yes, hopefully. That's the plan. But
I think it does.
But
so
no,
well